I'm Richard Wilson, and I'm on a driving tour of the UK.
And the thing about the country lanes is that you never know what you're going to see when you go round the corner.
But I'm doing it without the aid of modern technology. No sat-nav for me.
Very twisty-turny.
I'm using the rather splendid collection of shell guides, first published in the 1930s, to see how Britain has changed over the decades. The shell guides sent you round the counties of Britain and mapped out where to go, things to do, and even what to eat. When they first appeared, going for a drive was a pleasurable experience.
Oh, Mammy, Daddy.
Something that's harder to accomplish today.
Good, I'm trying to reverse. Oh, shut up.
But I'm sure that me and my Daimler,
Which I have christened Deborah.
will get us where we need to go. Today I'm in County Durham in the northeast of England. A county with a rich history and stunning landscapes. The one thing that dominates the county's history is coal. Following the 1937 guide's advice, my route takes me to the last surviving pit in County Durham, the transformed area of Gateshead, the historic city of Durham, and the magnificent countryside around Teesdale.
When this guide was written, Britain was in the grip of the Great Depression, and the author, Thomas Sharp, was so shocked by what he saw that he described parts of the county as having an air of death and decay. And he even suggested that London politicians and smug optimists spend a month here.
Well, for me to understand Durham now, I need to understand how it was back then, and I want to get to the very heart of the coal industry. So it's along the A693 and a turn-off to Beamish Museum, which preserves an entire mining village with shops, houses, and a colliery.
We don't actually have to imagine what it was like to be down a pit. We can actually go down one, and I think we should do that now.
Stuart Davison worked in the coal mines for over 20 years. Now he's a tour guide.
How do you do?
I'm fine, thank you.
When the Shell Guide was written in 1937, over 150,000 men went down the pit every single day in the Durham coalfields, and I want to find out what it was like.
And was this always a pit that would be walked down?
Yes.
So how long does it take to get to the pit face from here, Stuart?
I mean, it's only, well, about 40 yards down.
It's a bit of a departure for an old lovey like me, but I must look brave in front of Stuart. It's claustrophobic and smells damp too. It's amazing that men could spend a whole working day down here.
I thought you could stand up, but you can't.
Watch your head, though. It does get lower here. There's a seat. All the comforts of home.
So this is the coal seam,
Yes, that's the coal seam.
and this would be
It's all
done by
around.
hand.
This always used to be done by hand, yes. And this type of coal here, when it's called, this was done in some of the coal mines up until the 80s.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Some of the coal seams that were worked were actually half the size of the stick.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you were crawling?
You were
You're
crawling
on your belly?
On your belly, yeah.
For how long would you stay on your belly?
Well, you had to work your full 8 hours.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Because, well, time was money, you see.
Yeah. Well, that's been wonderful. Thank you very much,
You're very
Stuart.
welcome.
I've got to go back up there now, though.
Unfortunately, yes.
Glad I'm not doing that every day.
What a remarkable man Stuart is. 20 years down the pits and he's still passionate about telling the story of the mines. Time for sustenance. What I've got here is a jam sandwich and cold tea, which is what the miners would have taken down the pit with them.
Apparently, underground, savoury snacks don't taste as good. Sweet snacks retain their flavour. I'm actually quite keen on jam sandwiches. Not quite so sure about the cold tea. Well, not bad. Right. Strawberry. Well, that was very nice. I feel quite sustained by that. Now, Deborah, it's time to get back on the road.
My next stop from the Shell Guide is Gateshead, which was still part of County Durham when the guide was written in 1937. But finding the place is easier said than done. And it doesn't help that the weather has taken a turn for the worse. Again.
No, this is stressful driving. Come on. It's good. I'm trying to reverse. This is not what I'm going to do ever again. We'll get that straight, holding the entire county up.
Maybe sat-navs do have a time and a place. In 1937, at the time of the guide, this area was bleak and industrial, but now... Whoa!
This is The Angel of the North by Anthony Gormley, which is rather splendid.
Local historian John Grundy is going to tell me all about it.
And
Welcome
this-
to the Angel of the North.
Well, yes.
Fantastic, isn't it?
I've seen it from a distance, but I've never been up close before.
Well, it becomes much more powerful when you get close to it.
And of course, it's meant to be rusted.
It's meant to represent the Northeast and its history and its strengths. It's made of steel. Steel is engineering. It's like an angel, of course,
Yeah,
but it's got wings like aeroplane wings.
yeah.
It's standing, of course, on top of coal, you know.
Right.
Underneath here were mines. All around us here on the hills and in the valleys round
Hello.
about, there were coal mines.
Yeah.
So it represents something growing back out of the death of all of that industry.
John's enthusiasm is infectious, and I think his passion embodies the spirit of this county.
I mean, you see it from the car, but you have no sense until you get here.
It's extraordinary. When you get up close to it, it ceases to be rust somehow.
No, it's just a marvellous colour, isn't it?
It's a marvellous colour.
Marvellous colour.
Hello, ladies. How are you doing? Have you been up to
Big?
to see this before?
Yeah. She hasn't.
It's wonderful, isn't it? Whereabouts are you from?
Guernsey.
Guernsey. Guernsey. One Direction.
Yeah.
Oh, you've been to a concert?
Yeah. Last night.
Last night, whereabouts?
Sunderland.
What charming ladies. The Angel is truly impressive and a wonderful reminder of the county's powerful past. Of all the locations described in the guide, it seems the one place that has been totally transformed is Gateshead. Its quayside was once a thriving landscape of shipbuilding, heavy engineering and coal, but years of economic hardship took their toll. In the 1990s, regeneration started, and today it's a world-class centre for the arts, very much my cup of tea. I'm popping in to meet a local folk group called the Unthanks. Led by sisters Rachel and Becky, they sing the traditional songs of the Northeast.
Hold him at dawn's early light.
This song, Guard Your Man Well, captures the fears of a miner's wife when her husband goes off to work.
Away, deep down underground, far from sight.
Now that I've been down a mine, the music feels even more poignant. It's so beautiful, but the lyrics are very sad.
Oh, mining work's always the same. A stone from the sling can fall out so quick. Deep down underground, far from sight.
Brilliant, brilliant. That was lovely. That was a treat.
Time to get back behind the wheel. Next stop in my itinerary is the city which gave the county its name, Durham. I'm Richard Wilson, and I'm exploring County Durham without a sat-nav. Instead, I'm using the 1937 Shell Guide written by Thomas Sharp. It's a county you can really only understand today by revisiting its past. For the next leg of my journey, I'm off to the city of Durham, and then further south to Teesdale, where the guide promises me a landscape of surprises and great wide panoramas. But first, it's Durham, and I can't wait to see its most famous landmark.
Is the cathedral up here? Okay.
Built on the banks of the River Wear, there's been a town here since the year 995. The guide says of Durham,
It's right in the middle of the county. Hilly, narrow cobble streets, a little dirty and neglected through the influence of the coal fields which surrounds it, but still a place which has features of nobility and beauty. Well, the coal fields, of course, have gone, so maybe that's why it doesn't look too dirty anymore. Ah, you're guides.
We are.
You're a Durham pointer.
Yes.
Point at something for me.
Well, the cathedral's up there, just straight up the road.
And is it a very steep hill?
It's quite steep towards the end.
Easy,
But-
easy, no.
Well, he's fit and I'm
He's
not.
a pointer as well.
they're jolly helpful around here. This is certainly the steepest hill that Deborah has been up in some time.
But it's well worth the effort because there's something up at the end here that I want to see. And there it is. Wonderful Durham Cathedral.
David Kennedy is the Vice Dean, and I think I'll impress him with an astute architectural observation.
The first thing that strikes me about your cathedral is it's very old.
Indeed, yes. Well, this building was started in 1093,
1093.
and most of what you see was completed by 1133. So in 40 years, they managed to build this magnificent Romanesque Norman cathedral.
And it's the best example of Romanesque architecture in Europe.
That's correct.
It's magnificent, yeah.
And you're never far away from a reminder of the county's industrial past.
Oh, yes.
There's a tremendous strength to the building through the architecture, these magnificent pillars with their different patterns.
The cathedral seats 600 people in 82 pews. I can't help thinking there's an awful lot of seats to polish. And Tracy Tempest is one of the team of 6 cleaners who get their dusters out every day.
I call her Cleopatra.
Well,
She's losing a bit of her feathers, mine now. You know, but she
it's a
gets into...
splendid. I've never seen a duster with such dignity, really.
Well, you remember the lady who was married to Richard Burton?
Elizabeth Taylor.
Yes, and do you remember when she played Cleopatra and she had
Yes.
the big black plumes?
These are
what-
the original ones.
Well, that's what I keep telling everybody anyway. Oh dear me, I didn't realise that was there. Anyway, you have a nice day, sweetheart.
All right, darling.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.
What a lovely lady. I've always been jealous of those organists who get to blast out religious music in big cathedrals. Organist James Lancelot is at the controls. I wonder if he'll let me have a go.
Oh, yes. That is brilliant. Could I dare to have a go?
You can have a go if you like, yes.
Oh, gosh.
Right, why don't we do something
Something rather dramatic,
like this?
James.
You want the top
Yes.
four on the left, the bombard stops.
Yeah.
And they're louder than the whole of the rest of the organ put together.
Bombard means what it says.
It means exactly what it says.
Bombard. Oh, I could do that all day. That gives you a sense of power, doesn't it?
Oh, it does, yes.
It gives you a sense of...
I love this cathedral, but it costs over £1 million a year to maintain. I guess with the cameras on me, I'd better do the right thing.
They suggest they put £5 in, the suggested amount, and the average works out at 37p. I'm putting twice £5. And of course, the production company will be doing it as well.
The guidebook's author, Thomas Sharp, suggested that if you wanted to get away from the industrial landscape, to head to the southwest of the county, to Teesdale. The guide says that the views are amazing, but in this wet weather, it's really hard to appreciate the landscape.
You can't really see very much. The sheep are looking particularly wet. Well, Deborah's doing fine, I don't know. The windscreen wipers seem to be working overtime. I hope it's not putting too much of a strain on Deborah's batteries. This is Pennine country. It's a huge contrast from the more industrial side of the county. This is the genuine Pennines. Beautiful, but wet.
The guide points out that this part of County Durham was rich landowners' country, and today some of it still belongs to the Raby estate. At the heart of the estate is its jewel in the crown, Raby Castle.
So the guide says, one of the finest castles in the north, well seen from the main road, which makes one wish that owners of other similar places would also show their properties thus, instead of hiding them behind high walls. Large herds of red and fallow deer roam in the vast, finely timbered park. So, there we have it. There is the castle from the road, a perfect view, and look, all the deer are in position, beautifully posed. It's a perfect picture.
It's incredible to think that a short while ago I was experiencing the harsh conditions of the mines. It really was a county of two halves, the haves and the have-nots. Back in 1937, when the guidebook was written, those hard-working miners' families would never have been able to set foot in a place like this. The castle is owned by Lord Barnard and has been in his family for nearly 500 years. I'm sure the house is impressive, but I'm an animal lover and I want to see the deer.
I'm waiting for the gamekeeper, who is called Ian, I believe, which, strangely enough, is my real name, Ian.
Hi, Richard. I'm Ian. Welcome to Raby.
Thank you very much indeed. And we want to have a look at your deer.
I would be delighted to show you.
Would you like to come in my Daimler?
I would love to. I don't often get the chance to travel in such style.
They are wild deer.
Yeah, these are wild deer. There's red deer and fallow deer. We have about 800 animals in the park altogether. Yeah.
And you don't look after them at all, really?
We supplementary feed them in the winter.
What do they get?
They get carrots.
Carrots?
Yep. A huge amount of carrots.
Look at that. They're all looking.
You don't see many cars like this in here.
They're all saying, oh, look at that Daimler.
You can see the young stags with their new antlers just starting to grow. Do you want to look at them through the binoculars?
Oh, yes. So I never realized we'd get this close here. That's wonderful. Do you also do hunting and shooting?
We do on the estate, yeah.
Who are the hunting and shooting people now?
Hunting and shooting covers a huge spectrum of people now, from the landed gentry right down to the working classes that want to come shooting.
It's a real privilege to get this close.
They have behaved themselves. I had a quiet word with them.
Pass them my felicitations and say how pleased I was to be amongst them. I've had an extraordinary day because I've been allowed to play an organ in Durham Cathedral, and I got to look at this extraordinary herd of deer.
I've had a wonderful time in County Durham. From the places I've been to and the people I've met, it feels to me that the county's past has very much shaped its present. Next time in Dorset, the locals show us some barefaced cheek.
I might try the water.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
My creative sculpture comes a cropper on the beach. And I'm schooled in the Dorset dialect.
Four.
Five.
Five.
6.
6.
7.
7.
All gorgeous. Now, Julia Bradbury hits the northwest tomorrow night, looking at the wonder of Britain. Next though, Coronation Street, and Tracy fights back.